Hello, guys. Welcome back to MAC 4867. So in our previous session, we focused on the postgraduate diploma in management accounting, what it is, and the opportunities that it may open for you. Now, in this session, we would like to focus mostly on performance strategy, which is MAC 4867. Now, performance strategy focuses on risk management, right? And it is important that you understand that where this module fits into or in the CIMA syllabus and why risk has become so important in modern day business. Now, risk became very popular in the financial or during the financial crisis or just after the financial crisis when markets started falling, apparently due to a number of unforeseen circumstances. And therefore, risk itself is a degree of variability from expectation. So now you'll see that businesses every time and again will find themselves in situations that they never expected. And therefore, as a strategist, whatever decision that you will make or whatever decision you contribute within the business environment should consider any degree of variability that might be inherent. Okay, and therefore this module becomes important for you to understand situations and circumstances that may arise or that may give birth to particular risks within the business context. And therefore, we cannot overemphasize the importance of risk management in decision making. And that is why performance strategy or the performance of an organization may be limited to the extent of an organization identifying or not identifying the risks that are imminent in the business. That being said, we cannot run away from understanding the importance of identifying the risks that the organizations are exposed to. It is very important that you understand the importance of this module, right? Now, besides understanding the importance of the module, you must also understand the application of the module or of the module content in the decision-making process of an organization. So now when we are looking at the CIMA syllabus itself, you must understand that these modules are somehow integrated and you cannot look at this module in isolation. And that is why you guys will then have to do the MAC 4868 or the CIMA strategic case study if you are to pursue the professional qualification itself. Okay. Now, risk management as a module itself is very valuable since it gives you the knowledge and the ability to be able to identify various risks that you might be exposed to, whether the business is small, medium, or large. Every business must somehow have a process of identifying risks and a way in which it will approach the management of risks that are inherent within its operations. Okay, so risk does not only emanate from operations, it emanates from various other aspects. It might be from financial issues and many other issues. But later on, as we progress with this module, we're going to look at the types of risk. We're also going to look at the risk factors that may be inherent within each particular company. Now, remember, risk is applied. Organizations do not face similar risks, even when they're in similar industries. Organizations face different types of risk depending with the nature, the size, and many other factors that may be available to this organization. And therefore, in this module, we expect you guys to be able to apply to each organization in specific the types of risk that it may be exposed to. Remember, risk is a degree of variability from expectation. And therefore, each organization is unique and each organization will face its own type of risks. Okay, so that is it from us in this session where we are introducing you to MAC 4867. And remember, you cannot look at this module in isolation. Failure to consider other modules, even when you are studying towards this module alone, may result in failure. Now, the other things that you need to also take note of, besides understanding the knowledge, is at the end of the day, you want to understand, at the end of the day, you also want to pass. And therefore, since you want to understand, since you want to pass, you also need to have an understanding of the exam technique of answering risk or MAC 4867. Now, most of the questions that are tested for this exam are essay-based questions. Now, you must know how to write an essay. Now, remember, the basic format of an essay is it has an introduction, a body, and a conclusion, right? That being said, there are various verbs that are tested, right? Allow me to show you the verbs that might be tested in the exam, and you must have a knowledge of these verbs, right? You must have a knowledge of these verbs, and having a knowledge of these verbs will assist you to be able to break down the question, right, in its various components. Because remember, a question might be single-barreled, it might be double-barreled, or it can have various components in it, right? Now, for instance, a question might ask you to describe, okay? Now, I'm not going to give you what is written here, right? But a description goes into the how something is done, right? Now, if a question wants you to discuss, remember you are giving us points for and points against a particular concept. In certain instances, a question would ask you to discuss the benefits, which means it becomes one-sided. Okay, so in order to pass an exam, you first need to be able to break down the question into its components. Secondly, you need to be able to write well. Thirdly, you also need to be able to apply the knowledge to a particular scenario or situation that might have been provided, right? There are other words or verbs like evaluate. An evaluation is a discussion plus what we call a conclusive conclusion. Now, there are two types of conclusion. There are generic conclusions and there are conclusive conclusions, right? A conclusive conclusion will be judgmental or will give or will assume judgment on a particular concept, or it takes a side. Therefore, based on the discussion, I would say, because it's an evaluation, it's your own perspective, what you think of the discussion at hand. All right. So these are some of the important things that you need to take note of when you are answering your questions, right? Very important things that would make people pass. Because now, as you are starting to study, you're going to meet a number of assignments. If you do not know what is expected of you, you might not even perform well in your assignments. And therefore, we expect you to know or to have the knowledge of the content, plus to know how to write. And as we progress, you will see with the other questions that I'm going to look at with you guys, I will show you, I will break down the questions with you and show you how you are supposed to address that particular question. Thank you.